Hey guys. So I want to share a little bit about something that's just occurred to me today, occurred for me today actually. Um, Having a great day, get on a phone call with a friend, and what I notice is that as we're talking and he's giving some suggestions or advice or some thoughts, I notice some of how my shadow self showing up really lightly, really not obviously, but it was my cue. So my shadow spent many years being defensive, perfect, can't tell me anything, don't even try. And I'm going to have every excuse in the book why it's not going to work. I'm going to prove that to you, or every excuse as to why it didn't work. And so this is something I have not, I don't tap into that energy for years now, but she showed up today. And what I want to share is the important part of this. One was acknowledging it in the moment and speaking about it to the person I was on the phone with. If that's possible, that's great. If not, I also sent a text afterwards to acknowledge it and to say that I was seeing that. But this was not because I felt bad or guilty. It's because I just noticed it, and I needed them to know that in case they were wondering, worried, taking my responses in any particular way. And then I dropped it at that point. That's now on them. But I knew I had some accountability for how I was showing up. More importantly, though, is how I then decided or was able to show up for myself and my shadow self. Because when I notice that my shadow is showing up, it's because she's giving me a little indication that she wants to talk. She's got a message. She's got something she wants to heal. She's got a story. She's got a grievance. She's got something. And what's really, really, really integrally important here is that I go into these conversations with my shadow self not to fix her. Not to go in and say, okay, what's going on? Why do we show up this way? What did you say? Like, don't stop being defensive. The advice actually made a lot of sense. In fact, made us feel really good about what we're doing. So what's the problem? No. I have found over time that what I need to do is go into my shadow and say, oh, honey, what's going on? What's happening subconsciously? What's showing up that you don't even realize? What's bothering you? And sometimes I even ask the questions like we do to kids. Are we sleepy? Are we hungry? Do we just need to veg and watch a movie? To pull back a little bit from the emotion that's showing up. In fact, I did that a little bit. I got into contact with my shadow self. I sat down and said, honey, what's going on? And she just burst into tears. And there was a point where I could tell that my shadow was like, okay, that was a lot of crying. I needed to get that out, but I don't really want to delve into what it is yet. And I said, okay, and I picked up my phone and I just scrolled for a little bit. And that's self-care, especially because I know and I make a promise to myself that I will circle back. I will come back and find out what it is. But I can also feel when my shadow is overwhelmed. When my inner self, when my inner child, when my wounded pieces are just like, yeah, I want to share. And now that I've shared, holy crappers, I can't deal with this right now. And we go, okay, that's fine. Let's go take a nap. Let's go scroll. Let's go watch a Netflix show. Let's, whatever it is. Knowing that it's for the time being until I can feel my nervous system calm down again. Till I can feel myself feel grounded. Back out of fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And back into my body, back into my center, and then I'll touch back in with my shadow and say, hey, where are we at? What's going on? And usually at that point, the edge is off. They've had a little time to unconsciously process through whatever showed up that made those tears, or made that anger, or an aha of some injustice that we've gone through or are going through, or a realization of some way when we royally fucked up. And now we're processing through how to be accountable, but without shaming ourselves. So I share this process with you because I feel like sharing it while it's happening, because I'm honestly still working with her. I'm still working with my little shadow self. I'm still working and hearing what was showing up, what may be defensive. And it feels like there's lots of little things, and that's great. And my goal, though, of course, is not to fix those little things, but listen to them. Let them process through, because what I know is that my shadow self is who's been holding on to my emotions my entire life. At least that's the way that mine has showed up. It wasn't safe for me to have emotions, to deal with emotions. I had no place to share them, process through them, for decades and decades and decades. And I had some outlets with my own self because I had a really strong journaling practice for many years in my life. Well, I did until I got married and then dropped that. I'm now divorced and am back at the tools that help me. But if I didn't have my journaling for 42 years, I didn't have many safe places for me to truly process through my emotions. I would know if I was angry about something, but there's a book I've been reading recently called The Confident Empath, where she talks about think/feel versus feel/feel. So most of my life I think/felt, or thought/felt. And now I feel/feel. Now, because what I've done is I've allowed myself, I've learned how to do that, and I've given myself not just the, what's the word I want to use, permission to feel my feelings when they come up, but it's a requirement now. So I might maybe be at the grocery store and be in tears or be teary or angry or something, and I will wait until I get home, usually. But I don't go more than a day or two before I sit down and I just go through and process through, because I do not want to be a storehouse for emotions, because emotions are energy in motion. They are meant to come in, to give us the message, to tell us what's going on, to flow through us, and to leave us. They need to be in motion. They're not to be storehoused or hoarded like I did for many, many years. So I'm sharing all that again to just give you this inner peek into how this works. Main things are: notice when your shadow shows up. Pause when you can to give her time. Don't go in to fix her. Give her love, give her support. Back off a little bit sometimes if what's showing up is pretty big, but come back to it. And allow the emotions that show up for the shadow, maybe the memories, maybe the injustices, maybe the anger, to dissipate in their own time. That's what healing looks like. So I'm going to continue that process. I'm still in the middle of it. And I hope this has helped you. It's definitely helped me as I figured out and spoken about what's going on with me. Thanks for being here with me.